Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Shri Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, in the subject matter of appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, text number 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpataruragalitam phalam sukamukadamrata dravasam yutam vivada bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Sa cintayann ittham athāśṛṇod yathā mune sutokto nirṛtis takṣakākhyaḥ sādhu mene na cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam cintayann ittham athāśṛṇod yathā cintayann ittham athāśṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam cintayann ittham athāśṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam Prabhus. Cintayann ittham athāśṛṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam cintayann ittham athāśṛṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam Matajis. Cintayann ittham athāśṛṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam cintayann ittham athāśṛṛṇod yathā muneḥ sutokto nirṛtis takṣakā-ākhyaḥ sādhu mene cireṇa takṣakā nalaṁ prasaktasya virakti-kāraṇam. Word to word translation, please repeat. Saha, he, the king. Cintayan, thinking. Ittham, like this. Atha, now. Aśṛṇot, heard. Yathā, as. Muneḥ, of the sage, suta-uktaḥ, uttered by the sun, nirṛtiḥ, death, takṣakā-ākhyaḥ, in relation with the snake bird, saha, he, the king, sādhu, well and good, mene, accepted, na, not, cireṇa, very long time, takṣakā, snake bird, analam, fire, prasaktasya, for one who is too attached, virakti, indifference, kāraṇam, cause. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please repeat. While the king was thus repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference toward worldly things. Purport. Real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of the repetition of birth and death. One can stop the repetition of birth and death only by going back home, back to Godhead. In the material world, even by attaining the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, one cannot get rid of the conditions of repeated birth and death. But still, we do not accept the path of attaining perfection. The path of perfection frees one from all material attachments, and thus one becomes fit to enter the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, those who are materially poverty-stricken are better candidates than those who are materially prosperous. Maharaja Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord and a bona fide candidate for entering into the kingdom of God. But even though he was so, his material assets as the emperor of the world were setbacks to perfect attainment of his rightful status as one of the associates of the Lord in the spiritual sky. As a devotee of the Lord, he could understand that the cursing of the Brahmana boy, although unwise, was a blessing upon him, being the cause of detachment from worldly affairs, both political and social. Shamika Muni also, after regretting the incident, conveyed the news to the king as a matter of duty, so that the king would be able to prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. Shamika Muni set news to the king that foolish Shringi, his son, although a powerful Brahmana boy, unfortunately had misused his spiritual power by cursing the king unwarrantedly. The incident of the king's garlanding the Muni was not sufficient cause for being cursed to death. But since there was no way to retract the curse, the king was informed to prepare for death within a week. Both Shamika Muni and the king were self-realized souls. Shamika Muni was a mystic and Maharaja Parikshit was a devotee. Therefore, there was no difference between them in self-realization. Neither of them was afraid of meeting death. Maharaja Parikshit could have gone to the Muni to beg his pardon, but the news of imminent death was conveyed to the king with so much regret by the Muni that the king did not want to shame the Muni further by his presence there. He decided to prepare himself for his imminent death and find out the way to go back to Godhead. The life of a human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead, or to get rid of the material existence, the repetition of birth and death. Thus, in the system of varnashrama dharma, every man and woman is trained for this purpose. In other words, the system of varnashrama dharma is known also as sanatana dharma, or the eternal occupation. The system of varnashrama dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead, and thus a householder is ordered to go to the forest as vanaprastha to acquire complete knowledge and then to take sannyasa prior to his inevitable death. Parikshit Maharaj was fortunate to get a 7-day notice to meet his inevitable death. Parikshit Maharaj was fortunate to get a 7-day notice to meet his inevitable death. But for the common man, there is no definite notice, although death is inevitable for all. Foolish men forget this sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to Godhead. They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. Such an irresponsible life is adopted by the people in the age of Kali because of a sinful desire to condemn Brahmanical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, for which the state is responsible. The state must employ revenue to advance these 3 items and thus educate the populace to prepare for death. The state which does so is the real welfare state. The state of India should better follow the examples of Maharaja Parikshit, the ideal executive head, than to imitate other materialistic states which have no idea of the kingdom of God, the ultimate goal of human life. Deterioration of the ideals of Indian civilization has brought about the deterioration of civic life not only in India but also abroad. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langaite girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinadaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavedi Smrite Paritam Syat Shri Chaitanyam Namamitam Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Jai Pataka Swamini Namni Nama Acharya Padaya Nitaka Bhavadani Gaura Katadam Danya Gapranamata Yom Tatsa. I'll read the translation one more time. While the king was thus repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of a snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference toward worldly things. So, here Srila Prabhupada starts the purport. He gives a definitive solution to all the problems of life in the very first sentence of this purport. Real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of repetition of birth and death. So everybody is looking for happiness. Here Prabhupada says what real happiness is. How do we achieve real happiness? Real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of repetition of birth and death. So basically we all understand that this material world has no question of happiness. There is no question of happiness in this material world. Whatever happiness we see around is very, very, very temporary. It's called, this place, material world is called dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Dukkhalayam, place of misery. This is a place of misery. It would be foolish to look for happiness in this place of misery. And even if we get little bit of happiness here and there, that also is temporary. It's not permanent. So Prabhupada here says, real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of repetition of birth and death. So how do we stop birth and death? Prabhupada says in the next sentence, the birth and death cycle can be stopped when we go back home, back to Godhead. So until that point, we will be continuing to hover around this material world. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. We'll continue. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartina Arjuna. From topmost planet of this material world, this Brahma Loka, down to the lowermost, all these places are temporary and full of miseries. Anyone who goes there has to take birth again. There is no other alternative. As long as we are part of this material world. So the only way we can get out of this cycle of birth and death is to go back home, back to Godhead. Place ourselves in the association of devotees. Place ourselves in devotional service. Make our lives existence full of spirituality. Then there is a possibility of remembering the Lord at the time of death so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So when we remember the Lord at the time of death, then we can go back home, back to Godhead. So this Krishna consciousness movement has been formed basically to improve our consciousness in relation with Krishna and then remember the Lord at the time of death. It's not easy to remember the Lord at the time of death. We have so many other thoughts, desires, everything is coming. So it's not easy unless we constantly practice to remember. Remembrance comes by constantly engaging in service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then comes Vishnu Smaranam. So when we constantly hear, constantly chant, constantly render service, then comes the remembrance. It's like this. If anybody wants to learn how to prepare paneer sabji, for example, so just somebody gives a recipe book, or one time somebody tells, okay, this is how the paneer sabji is made. you made a tomato puree and then put some somf and then some cream and then fry the paneer in ghee and then put all these two together. Then I'm not a good cook, I'm just saying some this thing. So then comes paneer sabji. So, but we have to, how to remember this? So when we practice making this again and again, we cannot make paneer sabji just by eating alone. We have been eating for so many years in our movement. We are many of us look forward when the paneer sabji will come. All those who are eating paneer sabji are not good in making paneer sabji. If you want to make paneer sabji, then you have to practice making paneer. And then it becomes like a back of your hand, and you can make, okay, this you should do this. No need for recipe book, no need for somebody to come and tell you, do like this, no. So we can make, by constant practice, we will remember how to make paneer sabji. Those who are very good cooks here, and they will know. They don't need to go to recipe book and say, oh, I should do this. If you're doing for the first time, then we have to go through all these things. We need some help all the time. Similarly, if we want to remember Krishna at the time of death, then we have to practice. We have to practice by rendering practical service. Then there is an opportunity to remember Krishna at the time of leaving this body. So this Krishna conscious movement teaches us the art of dying. There are many institutions who teach art of living. Krishna consciousness is the movement which teaches us the art of dying, how to leave the body. Here we see Parikshit Maharaj, he was not puzzled, he was not in full of anxiety, oh, I'm going to leave the body. What will happen to my wife, children, my property? No. There is no such attachment. So as long as we have material attachments, we have this problem of staying back in this material world. So Prabhupada explains 5 different types of attachments in Science of Self-Realization. In that book, Prabhupada explains in the first chapter. There are 5 basic types of attachments, because of which we are pulled again and again back into this, the cycle of birth and death. The first attachment is attachment to this body without knowing what is the spiritual fact. We are attaching to this body thinking this body is the thing. We are to work for this body. We have to work for the enjoyment of this body. This body should be taken care nicely. So too much of attachment to this body. The second attachment is attachment towards the kinsmen, the relatives, husband, wife, children, brother, sister. So many attachment towards the kinsmen. We don't want to, I have to earn a lot of money for my children, family. I want them to become a doctor, engineer. They have to go to this place, that place. So much of endeavor. So much of attachment. So the third attachment is attachment towards the place of birth. Oh, this is my hometown, place of birth. Attachment towards various material possessions. Oh, this is my house, this is my mobile phone, this is my tab, this is my car, vehicle, this, that, so many attachments. We are so attached. I know there are many this is my marriage sari, marriage coat. In the reception, wedding reception, the father-in-law gives a coat suit for, particularly in India it's happening. The father-in-law gives to the son-in-law nice coat suit, and the girl was given nice sari. And they don't wear frequently all these things, but they are preserved. Oh, this is my marriage sari, this is my marriage dress. It is preserved, and preserved. There is no heart to give that away. So much of attachment for various possessions. And this is my birthplace. I have to go and live in my birthplace. So much attached to the place of birth. And then little more better attachment is advanced, but attachment towards material science. Attachment towards material science. So they are so much attached to the scientific processes, whatever they have come across, but they don't end their research and things like that because of lack of spiritual light. They don't know how to link it to eventually the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His energies. This is the fourth type of attachment. And the fifth type of attachment, even little bit higher, even at that stage we have attachment, is for attachment towards religious rituals, without understanding why different types of religious rituals are performed, or without understanding that these religious rituals are meant for understanding or relating to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or His devotees. So this we have come across in Nectar of Instruction also. What is that? Anybody know? In the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami says, doing certain ritualistic activities just for the sake of doing, or without knowing the purpose for which it is done. Niyamagraha, very good, Niyamagraha. So these are different types of attachments which bind an individual to this material world. We all know the story of Chitraketu. He was so much attached with one child, and then suddenly the child was taken away from him. He was full of anxiety. Oh, my child gone. Then Narad Muni and Angira Rishi came and then brought back the child. But the child was saying, who are you? Which father are you? In which Janma you are my father? So all these questions are asked, then made him realize about the ultimate goal of life. Maharani Kunti Maharani was praying to Krishna. It's there in the 8th chapter of 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharani Kunti is praying to Krishna, oh my dear Lord, please sever all my attachment towards all my kinsmen. I don't want to have these kind of attachments. So she is praying to Krishna. So all these type of attachments basically keep us in this material world again and again and again. So how to overcome these type of attachments? That's the next question. How to overcome these type of attachments so that we can be completely detached. So in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam it is explained, Bhakti pareshanubhavo virakti-kāraṇam chaisatrika eka kalaha prapadya manasya athāśṛṇotasyu tushti pushti kshudapayo nagasan. Whoever takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, three things happen simultaneously. At the same time, three things happen. One is bhakti, second one is direct experience with the Lord, para isha anubhava, and the third one is virakti, detachment from all materialistic things. So these three things happen simultaneously at the same time when we take shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this verse it is explained, it is like a person who is full of hunger. The hungry man comes, and then how to remove his hunger? Just by giving food. When he eats each morsel of food, three things happen simultaneously. One is tushti, he gets satisfaction. Pushti, he gets nourishment. Then third, shudapayo nagasan, his hunger is driven away. In order to drive away hunger, you don't need to do any gymnastics. We just have to eat food. It's a very simple process. So in order to get detachment from this material world, the process is very simple. We have to attach to Krishna and his devotees. So this is the only way we can get out of the all these attachments. We can get out of all these attachments what we discussed before. So for this, all our acharyas have given so many different processes. So when we follow these processes, starting with chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then slowly and steadily we can overcome step by step all these attachments. Then our heart gets purified. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam. So the heart gets cleansed when we chant the holy names of the Lord. Then we can get rid of these attachments. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, in the initial chapters, it is explained how to overcome this attachment. How to cut the knot of attachment is very clearly explained in the initial chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have to hear, we have to render service, nityam bhagavata sevaya. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu, all the abhadras in the heart will get vanquished by rendering service, nityam bhagavata sevaya, by rendering service to the devotees and by rendering service to this Srimad Bhagavatam book Bhagavata and devotee Bhagavata. Then what happens? Then our mind becomes clear. Mind becomes clear what to desire. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. When we get the vijnan, realization, who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, then we come to know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. When our mind is clear, when the heart is purified from all the anarthas, then we can understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. Until then we cannot understand. It's all theoretical. We all know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All this knowledge we have. But the vijnan, the realized knowledge, that comes into existence when the heart is purified. That happens by hearing and chanting the holy names and remembering the various pastimes of the Lord by the association of devotees. Then what happens? Vidyate hridaya grantis, the hridaya granthi, it's all cut off. Because of this constant practice of devotional service in the association of devotees. So this is the process recommended right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, how to get detached. And Parikshit Maharaj is looking forward for that because he is fortunate to know when he is going to die. He got a prior information, in 7 days you are going to die. But I don't think we have that kind of information. We are all thinking we are going to be living forever. So we don't have that opportunity. Parikshit Maharaja had that opportunity. Katwanga Muni had, King Katwanga had that opportunity. So they immediately took that opportunity and then start remembering the Lord. But we don't have that opportunity. What we should do? So we don't know when we are going to die. But only from human form of life we can go back home, back to Godhead. That is very clearly given in this purport also. So this human form of life need to be utilized properly so that we can go back home, back to Godhead using this vehicle. This body is like a vehicle. Use this vehicle to go back home, back to Godhead. But we do not know when that last moment is for us. So when we are always in Krishna consciousness, then we will definitely remember the Lord at the time of death. When we are always in Krishna consciousness, when we are conscious that we are not this body but spirit soul, and we are eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then we act based on this consciousness, then we can remember the Lord at the time of leaving our body. Then it is possible for us to go back home, back to Godhead. Those who have dedicated their life for the Prabhupada movement, Prabhupada has given an assurance that he will come personally and take them back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada has given that, and there are a lot of many devotees have shared their experiences, how when a very sincere soul is leaving their body, how they had that experience of the brightness in the face of the devotee leaving the body and things like that. So the only way we can get rid of all these attachments is by rendering devotional service. That is the only way. There is no other way to do that. So as Prabhupada goes one step beyond addressing the individuals, he's talking about the society in this purport. How a society can be fully in Krishna consciousness. How the leader of a society or the head of the state should function is explained by Srila Prabhupada in this purport. So Prabhupada explains three important things in the previous purports also as well as here also. Three important things a leader or a head of a state should focus. One is to cultivate and promote Brahmanical culture. The second one is to encourage all the citizens and subjects to be in God consciousness. And the third one is cow protection. So these three things, Prabhupada's making it very clear, if any state, any society need to function effectively, because it is a duty of the leader of the state, the king, to ensure these three are properly encouraged and promoted and executed. One is Brahmanical culture. This is very important. Prabhupada speaks about Sanatana Dharma, that is Varnashrama Dharma. Varnashrama principles need to be followed in order to have a better, create a better situation for the society to function effectively. Brahmanical culture in those days, for example, when there used to be fight between Bhima and Jarasandha, it goes on and on for many days. But they all know they are fighting for a particular purpose. But when it comes evening, they are friends. They eat sitting across the same table. They eat. But they understand these are very natural thing to happen. For example, Arjuna, in the middle of the Kurukshetra war, Duryodhana took 5 arrows from Bhishma, saying that, no, you give me the 5 arrows, tomorrow I'll give it back to you, then you can kill all the 5 Pandavas with these 5 arrows. So Arjuna went that evening, that is the previous evening, he went to the camp of Duryodhana, and Duryodhana said, "Oh my dear Arjuna, my dear brother, come," because Arjuna is very younger to Duryodhana. "Arjuna, please come. What do you want? You want me to stop this war? I can do it. Please tell me what you want." So Arjuna said, No, I don't want you to stop the war. That's not my intention of coming. You promised me before that you will fulfill one desire of mine in the past. I want to ask that now. Yeah, whatever you want, you tell. You want kingdom, I'll give you kingdom. He was in that mood in the evening. Then he said, "No, I don't want anything else. I just want those 5 arrows that you have kept for the use tomorrow. I want that." Duryodhana said, "Okay, take it." He gave. This is the culture. This is the culture. Dronacharya knew that Drishtadyumna is going to kill him. Still he offered to teach all the techniques of warfare to Drishtadyumna, although he knew very well that Drishtadyumna will be the cause of his death. This is Brahmanical culture. This is the culture we used to follow. But that is missing slowly and steadily in this society in the age of Kali. You can't see all these things at all. So that need to be emphasized and cultivated in society. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Brahmanical culture. The qualities of Brahmana mentioned in the 18th chapter. Truthfulness, tolerance, cleanliness. So all these different qualities need to be given to the society. Society need to be trained in these wonderful qualities. Then comes God consciousness. So everybody should be facilitated to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is one of the important duties of the head of the state. And cow protection. The cows gives enormous amount of foodstuff to us. So cow need to be protected, taken care properly. So any state which focuses on these three areas will definitely flourish. And here Prabhupada says, India should follow the footsteps of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj did focus on all these things. So the kingdom under Parikshit Maharaj was always very happy, prosperous. So Prabhupada is giving advice to the Indian state that everybody must, the king, the leader of the country, should focus on these three areas. So that will help one to help a leader or the head of the state to give proper guidance to the society. This is very important. If that is lacking, then everything is useless. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Dharma svanushtita pumsaha vishvaksena katāsūyaha notpādayet yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Each and every activity of ours should make us attracted towards the Lord. Rati means attraction. It make us attracted towards Lord. If that is not happening, all such activities are simply useless labor. And most of the people in this material world are focusing on activities which is not creating attraction towards Krishna. And that is the whole problem of this material world. Even in devotees' life, many of us, not many of us, let me not put many here, at least let me take me as an example. So a lot of activities I do which do not create attraction for me towards Krishna. I do so many plans, this, that, and all. I want to do like this, do like that. That means I have not fully come to that point of completely realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the purpose for which we are given this human form of life. So until we come to the point of realizing that, we will struggle. It's not about money, it's not about wealth, it's not about beauty. Kunti Maharani prays in the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmaishwarya Shruta Sribir Yedamana Mata Puman Naivar Hatya Didatum Vai Twama Kinchana Gocharam. Janma, Aishwarya, the high parentage, birth in high parentage, wealth, beauty, all these things are stumbling blocks on the path of back to God. It makes us more deeply attached to the requirements of this material world. So Prabhupada mentions here, those who are becoming more and more advanced in devotional service, Krishna takes away whatever things that are not required for them to advance in their devotional service and go back to God. He removes things. I recently read the life of His Holiness Bhakti Nityananda Swami Maharaj, who recently left from our midst. So he had a big business And suddenly he went through a huge loss in the business. And then that became a guiding factor for him to focus more in devotional service. A similar thing happened in Srila Prabhupada's life also. Srila Prabhupada had a pharmaceutical business. And then he was thinking, I can do this business, from that money I can print books and satisfy my guru. But his guru had a different plan for him. So the business went through a huge loss. Right? Kunti Maharani and Pandavas went through so many miseries in life. Why? Krishna wants them to bring them closer to him, make them depend on him more and more. So when devotees undergo miseries, so one should not misunderstand, no, why Krishna is giving so much miseries. Oh, before Krishna consciousness I was better off. Before Krishna consciousness I was better off. It's like somebody learning bicycle first time. When they learn the bicycle first time, there is a tendency to fall down and get hurt. So when you get hurt, oh, before I started learning bicycle, I was okay. All these pains were not there. So the reason is I am learning bicycle, so I should stop learning bicycle. No, that's ignorance. That is ignorance. So Krishna consciousness basically helps us. If we are intelligent, then we will understand that. Krishna removes only what we do not need in the practice of devotional service. Krishna is our well-wisher, suhurdam sarva bhutanam. He is a well-wisher of everyone at all times. Why do we doubt Krishna? Why do you think Krishna will put us in so much of difficult situation? Oh, Krishna is very happy. Oh, this guy is suffering, I am very happy. No. Krishna is not like that. Devotees of Krishna are not like that. Devotees of Krishna are para dukkha dukhi. They suffer upon seeing the sufferings of others. So they are not like that. But because of our ignorance, we start thinking, oh, because I came to Krishna consciousness, there is a problem. Otherwise, I am very happy. So this is ignorance. What we saw, ignorance about spiritual facts. The 5 types of attachment we saw previously. This is ignorance, sheer ignorance. We don't know who Krishna is. We do not know what Krishna can do for us. We don't know all these things. That's why we are misunderstanding about Krishna. Those who have taken good, in a nice Brahmanical family, they have taken birth, they have this kind of misunderstanding in the society. This is our problem. So it is our fundamental duty as practicing devotees to preach this Krishna consciousness to everyone that we come across. We should not be kripanas. Oh, keep it only with us. No, you have to distribute. Every one of us must take up to the preaching and distribute this to people of different walks of life all around the world. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants. And that is how we can please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is how we can please all the acharyas of the Sampradaya, Srila Prabhupada and our Guru. So when we do these things, and then we will be our visa for the spiritual world will be made ready by somebody else. We don't need to worry about that. We need not worry, oh, every 2 years, every 6 months I have to go to the FRO to change this, that and all. All those things are not required. Our visa will be ready. Yes, like how our Dhruva's mother, she was taken in an aeroplane even before Dhruva went. She was taken. Guaranteed. Hare Krishna. We have few more, 1 or 2 minutes more. We can take one question here.
Thank you, Prabhu, for today's class.
Hare Krishna Mati.
So, you made a very nice point about how important it is for society to progress nicely and the three important things. But today if we go to our state leaders and say, close down all these slaughterhouses, brothels, liquor dens, cinema houses, they say, how will we generate revenue? How will you get money? How will people will eat and how will they enjoy? What are you talking? So what should be our answer?
It's a very good practical question. Prabhupada tried his best to speak to various leaders during his time. He wrote various letters to make everybody understand. So Prabhupada did his best during his time, but the nature of this material world in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult, because Kali Yuga, you see all the things are upside down here. Those who are ruling are less than Shudras. What they can understand about Brahmanical culture? They are less than Shudras. So our preaching should become more and more, I'm just sharing my understanding, probably others could also add. Our preaching should become more strong. Our preaching we should make preaching all around the place, and even our current Prime Minister of India, for example, if you see, he's more favorable for International Society for Krishna Conscious activities. That's a good sign. Even our Chief Minister of West Bengal, she is also very favorable. She is visiting the temples. So that's a favorable, whatever be the motive, that doesn't matter. But she is expressing her favor. They are not atheistic. That's the first thing to appreciate. They are not atheistic. If they are atheistic, then forget about all these things. There are some states in India where atheistic leaders are there. So we are somehow better off from that perspective. So it is basically, we have to promote so many preaching initiatives which will basically help to purify, and one of them is the distribution of prasadam. Prasad distribution helps, goes a long way. For example, during this pandemic, ISKCON got a very good name from all sections of the society. We distributed we distributed millions and millions of plates of prasadam throughout this pandemic in different parts of the country. So that's those sort of efforts need to be taken. But regarding overall change to come across, I really don't know. Everybody should be educated. Knowledge should be provided. Education should be provided. It's going to be a long process. Prabhupada says next 10,000 years his books will be there. So whoever comes into this movement should make this awareness, create this awareness amongst different sections of society. And we should go one step further. Some of us, we should take up to the leadership role. We should qualify to get into leadership role and bring about the change. That also can be done by different individuals. Some can become IAS officers and bring about these changes, things like this. But overall, we all should practice devotional service sincerely. If Krishna is pleased, everybody will be pleased. All of us as a part of this movement, we should practice Krishna consciousness sincerely and truthfully and with a lot of seriousness. Then these changes will come across. Krishna will make something happen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Sri Krishna, all these personalities will bring about the change. It may not be possible with our own endeavors alone. We have to pray to Krishna. Advaita Acharya prayed in Shantipur with his Shaligram Shila and Tulsi, Ganga water with Tulsi leaves. He was praying, "Oh my Lord, please appear to change this world." That was the mood of Advaita Acharya. He was praying fervently. What is going to happen to these people? Narad Muni was praying in Dwaraka to Krishna, my dear Lord, please do something. How can we bring about a change in Kali Yuga? People of Kali Yuga are so fallen, they can't think of you. What is the alternative for them? Then the Lord agreed to appear as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the process is available, the solution is available. It is a question of implementation. So we have to spread this to more and more and more people throughout the world. Everybody should chant, everybody should dance, everybody should eat Krishna Prasadam. So over a period of time, we can find significant improvement in the number of people practicing Krishna consciousness. If somebody want to add, you can add to this. Yes, we'll take that as a last query for the day. It's already 9:05. If somebody want to leave, please leave. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, for your thoughtful class. I just read one line from the purport. Therefore, those who are materially poverty-stricken are better candidates than those who are materially prosperous. But we see generally that the poor people, they struggle a lot to feed their belly. So they do not get time for bhajan, for devotional service. So how we can understand Prabhupada's points?
See, Krishna, the process of bhakti is not dependent on the material status of an individual. Process of bhakti is independent. Process of bhakti is costless. Bhakti is costless. It is not that, oh, I have lot of money, then only I can take up to Krishna consciousness. No, no. Those who have plenty of wealth, so many people have lot of wealth. They are well-to-do. They can take care of food, clothing, shelter properly. I'm not talking about billionaires and millionaires. I'm talking about many people who are in the middle level or upper middle level, lower middle level and things like that. They are all having lot of things to take care of themselves, but they are not taking up to Krishna consciousness. Right? So it is not about the material situation. Bhakti is not because of our material situation. Irrespective of whatever situation one is, one can take up to Krishna consciousness. Like for example, if you go and distribute prasadam to wealthy people, do you think they will take? Oh, this pandemic, we are distributing Krishna prasadam to you. Many people may, oh, it's okay, Hare Krishna, they'll just move away. But those who are, I'm just giving an example, those who are needy, they come forward, eagerly they take, although their intention is to feed their belly, but this prasadam will go and make a complete change in their body. Right? So they'll make a complete change in their body. So here Prabhupada is mentioning about poverty-stricken people. So they are looking forward for something, how to get rid of things. Right? So our devotees, plenty of our devotees, when they are going for preaching, Nagar Sankirtan and all, they distribute prasadam. So because of the prasadam, people get attracted. Because of the mood of our devotees, people get attracted to this movement, to Krishna. So they easily take up to this process. Right? If a line of beggars are sitting there, if you go and give everyday khichdi prasadam, do you think they will be happy or not? So they will be happy, obviously they will be happy. If you give everyday prasadam, khichdi to some well-to-do people who are coming, they okay, I'm getting better off. I'm getting nice 4-square meal every day, that's fine, I'm happy. Oh, this okay, khichdi I'll take. The amount of importance generally people give depends on what they are in, with which status they are in. Right? So when Kunti Maharani says, I have high parentage and wealthy, all these things are stumbling blocks if it is not utilized in the service of Krishna. That's the catch. If it is not utilized in the service of Krishna, all these things are stumbling blocks. Right? For example, we have a school here, Bhaktivedanta National School. In the national school, you see, we have children, devotee children are coming, children from the outside the community of devotees are coming. Everybody is coming there. There is a clear difference in how they view Krishna consciousness at this age. So they need to be trained. They need to be given that exposure. The parents need to be given that exposure. It's not about money or no money. Bhakti is costless. Bhakti comes because of the mercy of the devotees. That's why it is costless. You cannot create bhakti with money, with wealth, with power, with position. No, bhakti does not come like that. Bhakti comes because of the mercy of devotee. Narada Muni told that hunter, what's that hunter names? Mrigari. He said, just leave all these things. Then Mrigari said, what do I do for food? You just leave everything, food will come to you. Then he left everything, and the village community saw the complete change in this person. They started offering him foodstuff. So Krishna makes arrangement. Ananyas cintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyam. There is things for everyone. Prabhupada in one of the purports says, the elephants, there are thousands of elephants in Africa. They are not doing engineering, B.Tech, this tech, that tech and all to earn their livelihood, to eat their food. Prabhupada mentions that very clearly. They are not doing that. Still, food is available for them. Food is available for them. The person who created, he has created all the arrangements for everyone, for our need, not for our greed. All arrangements are made. So we should not underestimate Krishna. Krishna has a specific plan for each and every individual. Krishna has a plan. Don't think Krishna is a very poor manager. No. Krishna is the most effective manager in the whole universe, across all the universes. So it is we who have misused the facilities that are provided, because of which we are facing the problem. Misuse of facilities provided to us has made us face this problem. This is mine. This is my country, my land. We have spent so much of millions of dollars in sorting out the border issues between India and Pakistan, for example. Why? Who says this is yours or mine? Nothing belongs to us. If that understanding is not there, we will continue to go through all these problems. That we will continue to go through all these problems. So it's not about poor or rich. Rich people has a problem unless they are Krishna consciousness. It's a problem. All this wealth will take, oh, I have a lot of money. Let me to go to this place for enjoyment. Let me go to that place for enjoyment. It forces, induces us to take up different things. If you don't have money, okay, I don't have money, let me chant Hare Krishna and be happy. If you have money and then you have consciousness of rendering devotional service, you will utilize that money in the service of Krishna. That's good. But if you have money and if you are not Krishna consciousness, then there's a big problem. Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.